Sound guys, so I'm just going to walk through the first kind of the big 4 steps of setting up your GitHub account and pulling things down. So how to set up the environment. So you got SSH key set up, pulling down a repo, checking out a new branch, and then also adding files to a commit and pushing it up and then making a PR, and then also some tips afterwards. First things first, if you run ssh-add, let's see if I can get this bigger, space -l, you'll see all the keys that you've got listed. So these are all the SSH keys that are currently in my system. If you don't have anything there or SSH doesn't work at all, what you can do is create a new key by doing ssh-keygen. And you can basically just spam enter on all of these, and then you'll have a new key here. And you'll see your public key has been saved in here. So your private key is here. Never share that one. Only share this public one. And the way these work, they kind of pair together to do with the authentication. All right, now you got that. You can add it. To add it to your SSH agent, you can do ssh-add and then the path to this key. So you can see mine is .ssh /IDED25, the one that ends with 19. So that you add your private key to your location, your SSH agent, and then you want to print out your public key, and this is what we're going to add to GitHub. So in this case, I'll do ssh ed25519.pub, and this is my public key. I'll delete this afterwards. And also you can make these like longer keys, so they're a little bit more secure, because this is just a very simple one for now. Okay, once you've got that, go into your GitHub account, go to your settings, and then on the left hand side here you'll see SSH and GPG keys. Do new SSH key. I'll do key for video, it's authentication key, and then just copy this, paste that in. I need to use my mobile, so I'll just do that for a second. All right, now I'm back and I've got my key added, this key for video. Now what we can do is make an actual repo and pull it down. So if we go back to our repos, I'm going to do new repository and I'll call it test for video. You can give it a description if you want, test for video, Evan, Andrew. You can make it public or private. Obviously most of ours are private, so keep it private unless you are planning on sharing it. You can add a README. This doesn't really do anything other than just kind of make a branch for you, which is nice. I'd recommend doing a git ignore template as well, because that will add a big list of all the files you want to ignore, so like node modules. So in our case, if we search for node, it will ignore like node modules and .env files and that kind of thing that we don't want to push up to the repo. Now once you create that, you'll get an empty repo and you'll see the git ignore. It's got all these different files that it's going to ignore from pushing up to the server. What you need to do is hit the green button, and by default it will be on HTTPS. What you need to do is click on SSH, copy this, and then go into your terminal and do git clone and then paste that SSH. And if you've got your SSH agent set up properly, it will just copy it for you. And we can just go straight into that repo, and we'll have that README, which should just be empty, or we'll have the name. Yeah, there we go. Test for video, Evan Andrew. Okay, so next question is, how do you actually check out a new branch and make a PR? The only other command you'll need for this to remember is git checkout -b, and you'll see my terminal recommend thing, so you can just ignore that, but -b and then the name of the PR that you want to do. So let's do test PR, and now once you've got switched into that, you'll be able to push things to this branch and then push it up to GitHub. So let's just make a brand new file in here. I'm going to make a index.html file. Let's just make something really simple. Let's do hello world. Ignore that. Save that. Now if you do git status, I'd recommend kind of just running git status every time you do some sort of change in Git. Just good habits, almost like running ls inside of a folder. You'll see here this index.html is red. You can run git diff, and if there's any changes between the last repo to this repo, it will show you what those changes are. There aren't at the moment. But what we can do is do git space add, and you can either write index.html to do that explicit file, or you can do dot and it will do all files. So for example, if I made a style.css file here, and I'll just put a comment style.css, and if I do git status again, you'll see there's now 2 different files. If you do git add, you can do index and then style. That's a little bit long if you've got lots of files. So what you can do is git space add space dot. And if we do git status again, these will now be green. And this indicates that these are added to a commit. To actually do the commit though, you need to do git commit space -m speech marks, and you need to add a message to it. And now this message will just say to, in your PR what you actually changed. So in this case, let's do, I added a new index.html file and a style.css file. Obviously, if you're doing something a little bit more specific, then you'd mention that in your commit message. Hit enter. And now if you do git status again, you'll see nothing to commit. The working tree is clean. That's mean it's ready to commit. That's a little bit confusing because sometimes you might think, oh, I don't have anything to commit. But if you just hit git push, it will then present you with this message. And I just copy paste this, and this will push up the actual branch for you. The reason it's saying that is because the branch doesn't exist in GitHub yet. And you might have seen on the left-hand side, this test PR has now pulled up on GitHub with the option to give you to compare and pull request. What you can do is here, I don't think it's updated, but if I press that branches icon just here, you'll see that it can now see my new branch, this test PR. What I like to do personally though is go back on the home page and for the repo, and when this isn't just being pushed up, do compare and pull request and just hit this button. Base, set that to whatever you want to merge into. And this, just make sure to set it to what your branch currently is. You can add an extra description here if you want to. The title's normally descriptive enough. Make sure to just double check what's inside your PR. So yeah, in here I can just see my new index file and my style, and then do create pull request. Once that's then made, go to files change, and this is what you want to go and send to someone else when they review your PR. It just saves them having to switch the tab themselves. But say someone comes in, they go to your file, then they're going to look at this and they're going to be like, okay, cool, and they're going to mark it as approve. I can't do it because I'm the author of this PR, so I can't actually press the approve button. But imagine that someone has approved it for me. Once I'm happy with it, I press merge and confirm merge, and that will go and then merge it back into main. Once that's done, the way you get back to main is you do git checkout main, and then you can just do git pull again, and that will pull all those changes back into main. And you'll see here it's pulled index.html and style.css. Now, what I'd recommend when you guys are working on GitHub repos, and especially when you're doing pair programming, is push as often as possible and do feature branches. So what I mean by that is, say we want to add a hero banner to this website, check out a new branch called hero banner, and then do your changes that you want to do. So say here I'll do like a image source, let's just do test.png just for now. And when I actually want to do my change, I'll then commit added a new hero banner, push, and keep those changes as small as possible. It's just going to make it easier when people are doing the PRs for you. This is quite useful as well. In GitHub, it says you can create a pull request by just clicking this link. So I like to click that link. It just makes things a little bit quicker. Opens up in your browser for you. Create the pull request. Again, check the file's changed. Send this to someone. Let them paste that in. They can review your changes. So like, cool, that looks good. Merge the pull request, confirm it. And then on here, you check out main, pull again, and there you go. You're done. So quite nice and easy. Hope that helps.